Hello and how are you? My name is Mohindo Mbarak and I welcome you to another episode of learning how to make mobile applications using Flutter. So in the previous videos, we've been creating a complete news application, and in that series we are learning a lot of things that we will need to implement in the real world. So if it's your first time, I recommend you to watch the previous classes so you can be on the same level with us. But if you already know some Flutter and you feel like they're not necessary, still you can take it from here. So without wasting much time, let's go straight in our today's business and proceed with creating a news application. So we always do 40 minutes. As you can see, our counter has started counting. So let's go and begin. So this is our application. So in the previous lecture, we stopped at a level whereby we were able to request the news and our app would load this news from the API and save them in in the local database. That is a very, very, very great achievement. So right now, we're going to see now how to fetch them from the local database and display them to the screen. So by doing like that, we'll have solved the problem of offline capability in a way that even if you don't have the internet connection, you can still get the news from the local machine. All right, let's go ahead and do this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just put here another function that we're going to use for demonstration. We are going to call it maybe get local news, something like this, or get local data, and then we do the logic like we've done it here. So I'll come to our screen, which is this one. I'm going to duplicate this and then come here, and then after I'm going to say maybe make a local request. Okay, make a local request. The other one is a HTTP request. This one is the one maybe we call it local request. So I save and I put maybe a relevant icon, whatever icon you want. Okay, so now this is the one we want. Now when you click here, you should be able to do what? To get the local database, the local news, all right, or the one that are already in the database, in the local database. So let's see how we can achieve that. We're going to create another method for fetching the data from the local database and return. Okay, so it's going to be like this one, but for it, it's going to be fetching from the local database. Then I hope you're now getting what we wanted to achieve. This one is responsibility is just to get the the news from internet and save them on offline. Then this one responsibility is going to be fetching the news from offline to display them to the screen. So let's go ahead and do that method. So it's going to be also in the news model. So you can just duplicate this guy, and then we're going to call this sorry, I'm just too fast maybe. So it's going to be a static. Okay, so you can call it even outside, say future. So it's going to be having some delay, and then say list, and then open news model. So we are going to expect it to be returning some data. That's why I would call list news model. So we can call it maybe get local data or get local items. So we're going to just do like this, get local items or get local data. You can call it anything, or you can call it maybe get items, get local data. All right, so this get local data, it will be receiving, for example, maybe nothing, and then just get the data from the offline. So this guy has already done it for me. So we can always expect here maybe a where string and say where. So by default we give it 1. This just all right, let me remove it. I think I already explained this. So where by default you give it 1. Okay, so this where we pass it here. Okay, now let me explain this step by step. Local Pilot has just done it for me. So here, you know what it means: static future list of news models. So here it means that we are promising to return a list of news items, and it's going to be a future functions can delay, and then static you can access it offline. I mean, you can access it without initializing the news model, and then you give it a name called get local items, and then you're going to be receiving an option. This is how you put an option. If you want, you will provide it. If you don't want, you will not provide it. That's how you create it. You create curly brackets, and then you say string, and then say where equals to. For example, you can put anything. Here I'm just putting my where equals to. By default should be 1. So if you do like this, it means that you can optionally receive. So the person will either provide this or will not provide it. If they provide it, then it will override this one. So where is going to be different. By default, it's going to be 1. So where is just is just a condition that will be passed to the database. Okay, that will be in form of what? In form of SQL. So string where by default is 1, and then you say async. So it's asynchronous. It will having some await, or it will be delaying. Then open curly bracket and then close it. Then inside here, we initialize the database. You know why we do this? Why we do this? Then we also initialize the table. After initializing the table, then we check if the response of the table is not empty. If it is empty, if it's not empty, then we display what happened, and then we return nothing or an empty array. If it is not empty, we go ahead and create an SQL that is going to fetch the data from from the local database, okay, which is going to be, we already demonstrated this on the previous class. It's going to be a map. We're going to say maps, and then say await equals to db.query, and then we pass the table data, and then by default put the where. So this where is going to be this one. So if we do this, it means that we can optionally pass a where and put our own condition when we call this function. Okay, then after doing that, we create our list of news items and we make it empty by default, and then we loop and then we loop through these maps. Okay, we loop through these maps. As we are looping, we are converting this map from JSON and then add it to what? To this news item. You see? Say items.add, then say from JSON, and then you pass this data. Okay, so this from JSON is the function that you created that will be returning a single item of what? Of a news article, and then return back the items. So this is the function that will be used to do what? To get the local what? The local data. So if you pause the video and look at it properly, you'll see it makes sense. So we're going to be calling this function to get the what? The local news. So what we're going to do now, let's make use of it. What we're going to do, we're going to come here to our news interface or the home page of news. On top here, this is a stateless widget. Let's turn it into a stateful widget. So right click here and then say convert to stateful widget. As simple as that. So after converting to stateful widget, we are going to come here on top here and put the list of our news items. Okay, so it's going to be list of what? Of news model, like this. Okay, and then I can call it maybe news equals to empty by default. So that's going to be our list of news. Okay, or you can call it anything. So this is the one that we're going to be using, all right, to display the data. So after doing that, let's go ahead and create the initializing function, also the function that we'll be using to initialize the news. All right, so I can just simply say init, or you can say my init, all right, and then open bracket and then open curly bracket like this. So in this function, it is where we're going to be getting the what? The news from the database. So it's going to be news equals to await. So in say await, of course, here is going to put what? Asynchronous, so that the method should be able to synchronize. So news equals to await, then we put news model. Now we call the method that is going to call the what? The local data dot get local news items, like this. So what does it mean? It means that now we are not fetching from the what? From the internet. We are fetching from the what? From the local database. So by doing like this, we'll have implemented the what? The offline capability. The user will not even see the application loading. It will be very fast. Why? Because we are playing on their minds. We are using their mobile apps to keep their mobile phones to keep the news, and then we just display when they refresh. So that's how WhatsApp does, and so many applications. like WhatsApp, you'll not see it doing the loading thing. They fetch those things from offline, I mean from the background of the phone, and then they fetch from internet, and then they save them in the local database on your phone. So when you open your phone, they just show you the things that are already in your phone. Okay, then you say, hey, the thing is off, I mean the thing is fast. Even if I don't have internet, I'm able to read my messages. So this is the whole logic. So if you are able to implement it here, so what does it mean? It means that you can be creative and think so much and of how you can make it even much more better than this in different ways. Okay, so you see, this is, I'm getting the news. So after getting the news from the local database, I go ahead and do what? And say set state. So set state, it means that you should update the state. All right, so I hope you understand. So now, yeah, that's it. Okay, so let me go ahead and just display here the number of news that we have. Okay, so I'm going to just put here the number of news that we have. So I put dot length. So I remove this constant just to display the number of news. Okay, let me do this. So I hope you understand there. So let me call this function my init. I'm going to call it where? So I'm going to call it here in this button. So I'm going just to call this one here my init, like this. So let me show you. I'm going just to press here, and then it will tell me how long it will take to display the news. Tap. You see, 96 articles. That's very fast. Why? They are being loaded from the what? From the phone. So it means that this loading of the news from internet will be doing it in background, and then the loading of the news from the phone will be doing it from what? From on the online. Sorry, from the I don't know. Okay, so I'll show you now how to optimize everything later. So I hope you now understand what is going on. So all right, now let's go ahead and display the what? The news. So you see here I have 96 articles. All right, let's go ahead and now display the what? The news. So what we're going to do, we're going to start now designing the user interface and display this news. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put here the function that will be calling this init automatically. So when someone opens here, this should automatically be called. So how do you do that? We override init what? Init state. This one, okay, and then you call this one. So this function will be called automatically when the screen is opened. I hope you understand. So now here we're going to remove these ones because we no longer need them now. We're going now to start implementing our own thing. So I'll come here and remove this single scroll view. Okay, in this body I'm going to put another thing, list view builder. Okay, this one, hope that's okay, that one, and I'm going to remove it. This is just to display. You see, we're able to get the news. That is Copilot, it's doing its thing. It just automatically. Anyway, I'm not going to do this automatic thing. I'm just going to explain everything step by step. So all right, so in this body you see we have nothing. This is Copilot. It just gets for me the news automatically and display everything, right? But you have just done the work, okay, by yourselves. So let's see how we can make it much more beautiful while we understand each other. So there's a class called custom view builder. I mean custom list view. Let me show it to you. Custom. Is this custom? Come and chat GPT. It's called custom list view Flutter. So this one, it will enable you. It's called custom view. I don't know. Custom scroll view, something like that. Custom scroll view in Flutter. Come and search about it. It's a very, 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 very powerful widget that can enable you to display different things in your application, or different lists in your application. So we'll have a special day when we'll look at it, but for now we're going to see how we can just use it to build a few things. To build this thing. So I'm going just to come here in our application, here where there is body. I'm going to put custom scroll view, and then after this custom scroll view, it takes what we call slivers. Okay, let me explain this. Okay, this is custom scroll view. Let me first end this. I think the same colon. Yes, so this is our body, right? This is our body. Okay, so in this body we put what we call custom scroll view. So this custom scroll view, it takes something called slivers. Okay, so in these slivers you can give it so many types of slivers. You can give it a list slivers, you can give it grid slivers, and it can take multiple slivers. A sliver will be a list. So what does it mean? It means that you can have different types of the list in one screen, in one widget, while it's being managed by what? By that custom scroll view. So it is very, very powerful. Okay, so right now we are giving it just this sliver that we are calling what? That we are calling sliver list. Okay, so this sliver list, it will accept, I mean, just simply write custom list view. Instead of children, you give it what we call slivers, and you open the square bracket, so it's going to take multiple slivers. So what does it mean? I can even duplicate this sliver and create another one. So it means that those will be the two lists in the same one. It can take grid, it can take so many different types of what? Of lists. So in this first sliver, or the sliver that we're going to give, we're giving it a sliver called sliver list. So in this sliver list, we are giving it a delegate, and then this delegate is called sliver child builder, and then you open bracket, takes the context, and then you close the bracket inside it, and then you put index, and then open curly bracket outside, and then you return whatever you want to return, or the widget that you want to return. Okay, so this widget can be anything. For example, I can return some simple what? Some simple text like this. All right, and then it will take one important parameter in this sliver list. You see, in this sliver list, you'll take another important parameter after the delegate. I mean, inside the delegate. It will take a parameter called what? Child count. Child count is the number of items that you want to display. So here, I'm just simply putting our news.length. Okay, so if I put 3, for example, I put here 3. So what does it mean? It's going to display for me 3 slivers. You can see, 3 list items. So if I put, for example, let me just be displaying, so it will be giving you what you call what? An index. So an index is the ID of that sliver that is being displayed at that particular moment. So if I save, you see, it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3 like that. So if I say I want, for example, 10, I can just simply put 10. You see, it is giving me 10. So this is a single list. So what does it mean? I can even create another list within this one. So it means that I'm having 2 multiple lists. This one beginning from 0, and all of them, they're being managed in what? In the same screen, using the same what? Using the same scroll view, and they can be as many as you want. So that is a very, very powerful what? A very powerful widget or feature of Flutter, where you can display multiple lists of different style, of different design in the same what? In the same widget. So make sure that you understand it. Make sure that you understand really, really how it operates. You can even search on other YouTube channel. You can search on Google and learn about this powerful feature. Once you master it, you will have added a very, very great part of you, or part of your development in what? In Flutter. So you can see how I've written. You can pause the video and look at my function very carefully and understand how I've just designed it. So instead of putting here child count and I put 10, what am I going to do? I'm going to put the number of news that we want, okay, that we want to display. Of course, our news item is here, news. So I'm just simply going to come here and say news dot what? Dot length. So by doing like this, it's going to give us the number of what? Of the news length. It's going to loop this one times the number of the news length here. So if I come here, you'll see the list is 95. So I'm able to see the different news. Okay. So by doing like this, so I can go ahead and now design my news interface and put it here. All right. I can design my news interface and put it here. So we can go ahead and design a widget separately that we're going to put here that will be displaying a single news what? A single news item. Let's go ahead and design that widget. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and design the widget. So we are going to create a separate folder. I think we already have it here, where we're going to be putting our different widgets. So you already have it here, and you can see we have here what you call my widget, where I'd put some widget, for example, this person widget. So I'm going to create another widget for displaying a single news. Okay, that is a good practice. So I'm just going to come here to widget folder and create inside this widget my widget. This is just a class of file. I'm going to create another widget. So I'm going to call it widget, and then I'm going to call it the news widget, or news article UI, or news UI, something like this, or news item, or anything that you want. Okay, so the Copilot has already done it for me. It's going to be taking a news model. All right, let me just explain. I want Copilot to do this for me. All right, so it's going to open curly bracket and then do like this. So this news widget UI, it's going to be taking a news model. Okay, so we'll be giving it a news model, and then it will help us to do the rest. So just simply come and say to take news model. I can call it, for example, M, or you can call it news, you can call it anything. So let me go ahead and return a widget. Okay, so I can return here maybe some text to say some news, and then I can put here some news UI, something like this, just for testing. So after doing that, I'm going to call now this let me call it news item UI. Okay, so it's the one that will be responsible for displaying a single user interface of an item that you want. So by doing like this, your code will be clean. You'll come and write everything from this side, and you can even reuse it. Okay, so I'll copy it, okay, and then come to our main screen of news here, and then I'll remove this, okay, here. So I'm going to return the news item UI like this. Then I import it by pressing Alt and Enter. So I give it news, and then I pass the index here. So it's going to create the single news item and then give it to this one. So by doing like this and save, you'll see I'm having these different user interfaces. All right, so let's go ahead and now design our single news user interface. So we're going to have it's unfortunate I don't have how I can design things, but let me just give you a picture of what we're going to design. So we're going to have a single news item is going to look like this, like this. Okay, this is going to be a single news item, whereby we're going to have our title here. Sorry, we're going to have a picture here. Okay, and then we're going to have here our news our news title, which is going to be kind of bolded, and then we're going to have maybe the simple description here, some description, and then here we're going to have maybe the date here like this. The date is going to be here, and then you're going to have a picture of the news article. So that's what we're going to do right now. That's what we're going to design. So you can see it's going to be a container, and this container is going to have a row in it, and this row is going to have some column inside it. Okay, and then in this column, okay, it's going to be a container first, and then it's going to have a column that's going to have this side and this side. Okay, and then this side of a column is going, it's going to be a news, it's going to be a container, and then it's going to have a column that's going to separate this one from this one, and then this side we're going to have just a single photo that you're going to see here. It can even be in a container. Then this side we're going to have a column that's going to have these items. Okay, so I hope you now have a picture of something that you want to do. So let's go ahead and do this. All right, I don't know whether I should even leave this. Let me see if I can go ahead and move them. Let me just move this design here or here, or whatever. Okay, so and then I close this. I hope it will not disorganize us. So this is our design that we're going to have. Hope you can see it. That's our design there. All right, so we're going to go now to the news view widget, and then we design this. All right, let's go ahead and do that. All right, so this is our news widget. I can collapse this guy. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to have a container. So I can just simply come and surround this one with the what? With a container. All right, container. There we go. So after having the container, we're going to have a column. This column, the one that separates this guy. I mean, we're going to have a row that's going to separate this guy from this guy. So we just simply go ahead and surround this one with the what? With a row. So since this image is going to have, the photo is going to have a kind of a specific width and height. So for each, going to have some fixed width and height. So we're going to surround it with the what? With a container. Okay. So container. Okay. So going to be, let's come here and say container. That's where we're going to put the picture. So you can say maybe here photo. Okay. And then in this photo, I mean, when I save, it's going to be like this. Let me just, okay, let me remove this, what, these annotations, because we already have the picture in ourselves. So let me remove the annotations. Remove the annotation. Clear all drawings. Next time I'll have to do maybe improved over annotating. Okay, so it's going to be our photo, and then that's one side, and another side is going to be what? Our details, details. Okay, so you see the in column. So one of it, I'm going to give it width and height. Let me give this one a background color. So I just simply come and say color and say maybe blue, black. Okay, that's why I'm going to have a photo. So after, I'm going to give this okay, so say maybe good. Okay, so that's we're going to have a photo. All right, after this photo, we're going to give it limited width and height. So we can give maybe some width of maybe 100 and height of what? Of 100. All right, so that's going to be our photo there. All right, maybe you can make width maybe like 120. I mean 120 width, something like that. All right. So after, I want this detail to span as big as the remaining chunk. So if you specify this one, it means that you can expand this one as much as you want. So if I want to expand it, I'm going to surround it with a widget, for example, center widget, and then this center widget, I'm going to change it to expanded. Okay, so expanded will make sure that it stretches to the remaining space as much as possible. So when I save, you'll see that's what it is. That's what I mean by what? By expanded. So after expanding it, I'm going to create first of all some borders, so we can have, let me first give this background this container some background. So I just give some color so you can see where it stops and where it ends, and then say maybe we make it maybe some green and give it a shade of that. So that is our container of the news details. All right, so I'm going to give it some padding. So I'll just simply come here to our let me first disable Copilot because it makes me fail to explain to you things properly. Disable completions. All right, so I'm going to give it some padding. So come here at padding and then simply say padding. Edge insert dot what dot you can use symmetric. So symmetric, you can say horizontal. That is horizontal should be maybe 20, or can put 15. Okay, and save. So you see here and here it is having 15. Okay, so you can separate it vertical and say maybe 10, and say maybe 10. You can say maybe 8. So vertical, you can say 8. So it's going to have some space like that. So I hope you see how we're coming up with a new set. So you can say maybe vertical should be 5, something like that. All right, so I hope you're together. So after doing that, we're going to go ahead. So maybe this one should be height of 8. All right, so after doing that, let's go ahead and now start putting the title here. Okay, so as I said, you're going to have the title, then the description, and then the date. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we'll just simply come here and make this one where there is detail, we make it a column. Okay, so just simply come here and say it's going to be a what? A column. So save. So this column, the data I want to be at starting, so I'll just simply put here cross alignment and make it what? And make it start. All right, so it's at starting. So I want now to maybe make my content to be always on top. So come here to the container and put what? Alignment, and put alignment top center. I hope that's okay. It's not. All right, I don't know how we'll do that, but okay, maybe here in cross alignment, cross alignment dot start. Hope that will work. Yeah, that has helped. That's what I wanted. Okay, in the row. Okay, beautiful. That's beautiful, isn't it? It is beautiful. So okay, here we're going to have a title, so we can start even displaying the title, no problem. So let's go ahead and get M here. This is the news article it is. So I'm just going to put here M dot what? The title, then we'll have our title there. All right, so we're going to maybe increase the size of the title. So we're going to simply format this title and give it style. Okay, so it's going to be text style, and then go ahead and give it maybe some space, some font weight, and give it maybe font weight dot what? Dot bold. Okay, make it some bold. There you go, and give some size, font size, font size, and make it maybe to be something like 16. Isn't that so big? I think you can make it maybe something like 14. Okay, that is enough. Maybe we can go ahead and limit the number of lines that this one can have. So you just simply put here come here and put max lines, and put 1, and then put what you call overflow. So if it overflows, we just put text overflow dot what? Dot ellipsis. So it should be able to do what? Make it 2, not 3, not 1. So something like that. So it's more than 2, to go ahead and put some dots like the way you see this one. All right, so we can go ahead and put here some description of this news article. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's put some description. So to put some description, just simply duplicate this one. All right, so we can make this color to be completely black. Okay, you can put here some height. I think height comes here, height, and make it maybe 1. Okay, yeah, 1.1 maybe. So it shouldn't be like very big in line spacing. All right, so let's go ahead and duplicate this one, then put some description. So I'll come and copy this and put here. So this news, it has what you call description, I hope. A description, which is a short description about it. So I'll save it. This description is not going to be as bold, so you're going to make it what? To make it weight of 300. Okay, that is super light. Let's make it weight of 400. Yeah, that's enough. And then we also reduce its font to 12, so it should not be like the original news, the original title. Font to 12. Okay, and also reduce its color to gray. So come and give it color to gray like this. And then you maybe can give it some shade of 700. Shouldn't be like that much gray. Shade of 700. All right, so after doing that, then we're going to put our time down there. So maybe we can make this one all right, so let's go ahead and put our time down there where we agreed to put it. So let's go ahead and put our time. So our time is going to be, if we make this one 3, I don't know, this one 3, it should be too much. Let's make it 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this last one as the time. So we're going to put here RT it was called what? Publish art there. Yeah, publish art. So you can convert this time to any style that you want. We'll see how we convert it. So there we are going to do what? We're going to make it what? We're going to do what? Let's go ahead and do that and make it maybe a little bit bold. Let us make it also bolded. Let's give it the color of our news, okay, for the sake of branding, okay, and then let us make it float right, okay. So alignment, come here to alignment, align text and make it what? Text align, text align dot what? Dot right, okay. So it shouldn't be, it should be right. I think it has refused. So how can we do that? We can just surround it with the expanded. I hope surrounded with the expanded. I hope that's okay. No, it's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. So how can we make it align right? All right, let's leave it for the sake of saving time. Okay, so we are going now to space them. So to space them, I'll just simply come here and separate it the what? With a sized box of height, maybe 5 pixels here. I think that's too much. Let's put 2, and then also come here and space it with what? With 2 pixels. Yeah, that's enough. However, you can limit this container, and then you'll be able to use what you call a expanded or spacer. So if our news height is 40 here, if our news container is 40, so we can go ahead and also limit this container that is containing all of them here, okay, here, and say height equals to 480. So if you do that, then it means that you'll have a specific space. So if you have specific space, you can say maybe this time should always be in bottom. Okay, so if you have the specific space, that is only possible when you have the specific space. So I can come here and say spacer, spacer, yeah, spacer, and put here. So that space will always push it to bottom. But if you put spacer before you limit the height, it will make it messy. So let me go ahead and put this one maybe to 4. Yeah, something like this. Yeah, so I think that's not very ugly. That's not very ugly for sure. All right, let's go ahead and make this one constant, and make this one constant, and make this one constant. All right, so after doing that, let's go ahead and remove this funny coloring. So I'll just come and remove these funny colors, okay, and make this one what? Are they saying that replace with the size box? Okay, no problem, like this. Okay, so this news, they also need some margin, I think. Some margin, because they look so much attached to each other. I think we already put some, this has padding, right? Okay, some padding, yeah, that padding. So maybe some vertical should make it maybe 6, so it should be not attached to each other that much. Then this expanded between the news and the photo, we can add some size box of 5. So the news, of width 5. So the news should not be attached to the image itself. All right, something like this. So by doing like that, we'll have created our simple what? Our simple user interface for the what? For the news. It's beautiful, right? Isn't it? It is beautiful. Okay, so after doing that, we can go ahead and now put our picture. We go ahead and display the picture. All right, let's go ahead and display the picture. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and display the picture. To display the picture, we say that we're going to use the offline caching of picture. So there is one popular library that we use for caching the images, so that even if someone is offline, still they should be able to see the images that they had loaded before. So let's go ahead and add that library in our file. But I see our time is up. Let's have a short break of only 5 minutes, so Muslims can go and pray, and then come back and we add the image caching, and then we call it a day. So let's have a break of 5 minutes. Muslims can go and pray, and then we come back and do our last session. I hope you guys, you are understanding. I hope you're getting the concept. Remember, this news application, it is 100% offline capable in a way that if you even disconnect the internet, you see, even if I disconnect the internet, still I'll be able to see some news that I last loaded in my in my app. All right, let's pause and come back at exactly 7, and then have more 40 minutes, and we call it a day. Yeah, so let's go ahead and have a short break, unless there's a question. Members, do you have any question? Are you following? Are you there even? Guys, are you there?